Before we get to the main topic of today's video, I would like to reiterate something that I say in every single video or live stream. That being not to bother the individuals spoken about in today's video. Do not harass them, attempt to perform gay ops on them in order to get any form of retribution for this video, and do not try to contact their managers/husbands. If any of these rules are broken, you will be treated like the third rail and removed from the community. And while the individuals are people I personally am taking umbrage of, they are encouraged to message me if any of you are acting up. Along with that, in no way is this video me trying to convince you not to watch somebody or push you to unsubscribe from them. In fact, I will encourage the opposite. I think the people I talk about should be watched and true and honest critique given. I will not say ever that I think the individuals in this video should be blacklisted or turned away. That is wrong and goes against my own personal morals. With that out of the way, let's begin.
Anyway, all that to say that people that are super extreme into religion scare me, man. Like, the next step is like, you know, a Sweet Home Alabama and Ku Klux Klan stuff, and there's bonfires and shit. I don't fuck with that.
Sweet Home Alabama.
I don't fuck with that.
I'ma fuck my cousin.
As a Protestant, the teaching I grew up with was that homosexuality is a sin, but no more damning than any other. Jesus' message was to love and show compassion.
What we do here is go back.
Hi everyone, and welcome to today's non-tent cop. I'm still undecided on what I would like to call this series. Perhaps it doesn't need one. I just figured that it would be more fun to have something wild and mysterious attached to it. But I think instead, until I find the rhythm, that it is just going to be its own thing. No, instead today we're here to talk about something that's been bothering me for quite a while in the VTuber sphere, or industry. Just don't call it the VTuber community, because it's not a community. Anyway, the subject of today would be honesty and integrity. These are two things I know VTubers of any size try to convey that they have on Twitter, and often the ones that preach the most honesty end up being the most evil behind the scenes. I've covered many VTubers that pretend to be pious little angels, and in general, often get exposed for being the scumbags they truly are. However, today's individual is already showing cracks in her horse armor, so I'm going to attempt to rein her in and suggest playful yet stern ways to correct her mane and possibly bridge the gap to a better drama fox/horse girl. Today we are going to talk about the recent drama with Rima Evenstar and how I think she has lied to you. But before we talk about today's situation, I figured it would only be fair to talk to you about something very important: bias. Otherwise known as, quote, prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or persons, or groups compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair, unquote. Bias is something that, as a journalist of any kind, you should acknowledge. Oftentimes, in the old, outdated news media you see on your grandparents' TV, you might not realize that the people telling you about this new medicine you should be taking was, funny enough, sponsored by the exact same medicine company. Kind of makes you think, right? Either way, bias is something that all humans have, and you cannot escape it. I, for example, have my own biases, some for friends, some for family, or for certain beliefs I may have. I think the greatest example is how I used to go tooth and nail to defend the Mormon faith, right up until I didn't. Anyway, it's important for me to explain my biases to you right here and right now before we begin so that you understand and can inform yourself if the video is worth continuing. That way, it's fair to you. And don't worry, I'll be critiquing this later on the horse in question. With that being said, I would like to make sure that you understand the players in this video are related to me as friends or acquaintances. Mizutamari is one of only 3 close friends that I have on the internet. Rima is a former online friend that I used to talk about drama with on a somewhat normal basis, and her Discord was a place that I occasionally stopped in to read other drama. With that out of the way, I would like to say that while I may be in favor of one of my friends, I will do my best to maintain good faith and offer the same to the other when I can. No feelings, or minimal feelings, will be given here. Only facts and perhaps small jokes. The first thing I wanted to cover was the thing that started the drama between Mizutamari, the puddle yokai, and Rima Evenstar. Most people don't really know the context to the situation, and I feel they only got snippets in the form of Mizu's original tweet where he criticized her video where she covered the Cinder situation. Although cover isn't really what I would call it. It was more of a puff piece to the people who called her out, some of whom are directly Rima's friends. Now, this isn't really a secret fact. I'm sure that if you asked her, which you shouldn't by the way, she would be open to expressing how the girlies of Mythic Entertainment, that being at the very least Bao and maybe a few others, are actually her friends. It's not really a secret. She's been in a concert with at least one of them before in the past. The reason I bring this up is to share a concern that I and a few others have had, although with others, it might not have been in the right way. Now, whether or not you like or dislike Cinder, or the individuals involved, I feel is far beyond my abilities of this video. I've personally found the Cinder drama itself to become very boring and evolve into nothing but internet slap fights. Yet, I've only stuck around to study the after effects that it has had on the VTuber sphere in general. However, how about we talk about how Rima decided to cover the situation? Rima came back from a trip to Japan and immediately was thrust into the second biggest drama of 2025, with, in my opinion, Kirsha being number 1. Me being the drama tea drinker I am, was curious what Rima's opinion was. To paraphrase our conversations in the beginning, it was very standoffish, which struck me as odd considering our previous history was talking about drama. All the time, actually. In fact, when we first met, we had a group chat with myself, her, Mizu, and Lumi to talk about said dramas. So, what changed? Well, back then I chalked it up to her being stressed from coming home. You know, coming home from a very long trip where you go from country to country is very stressful. And even though I've not had the chance to do that, I can understand how you might not be interested in litigating drama with people and just interested in doing your job. But now, knowing what I know, I guess I understand it. Friend drama is not fun, especially when you want to protect someone that you think was hurt. I get that. I do. And perhaps, without knowing it, I probably kicked the hornet's nest when she was trying to understand the drama as best she could. But no harm or foul. We moved on, and she did her streams on the Cinder situation. And what did she call people questioning the narrative that was presented by Nano and Co?
You guys have never met any of them. These girls have known each other for years. There's not some crazy orchestrating thing going on. This doesn't go all the way to the top, you conspiracy theorists. Stop it. Stop. Wake the up.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. When somebody sent this to me, it kinda hurt. I knew that I was one of the few people presenting a different view in this situation, and I felt like in some way she was calling me and everyone else a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist because some individuals wanted to dig for more information. Don't get me wrong, some people have definitely been pushing harder than I might when trying to find information. Some individuals definitely bordering on harassment trying to get Rima's attention. Not something I accept in the slightest. If she doesn't end up replying to you, then perhaps you should move on. However, time passed and I eventually forgot, which is typically my nature, about her comment and instead reignited the conversation when Rima's video was only a few days from coming out. During our conversation, I had asked her directly, knowing that she knows the girls, if there was any information that had not been shared that might sway the argument for people. More of an addendum to the video that literally was exporting at the time of a live stream that I was made aware of, where Rima was deciding to tell her side of the story. At the time of this recording, and pretty much continuing onwards, I have a policy of not sharing my DMs with people unless I need to disprove lies or if I need to provide more context to the situation. Due to the fact that my DMs were impartial, at least shown with Rima, before she deleted them, by the way, I feel I am obligated now to share the completeness of what I am about to say. You can take umbrage with the fact of whether or not I am doing this in the comments. I am open to criticism. However, due to the fact that she has decided to blatantly delete all of my DMs, which I have backed up, by the way, it really starts to make me wonder why. Why are you deleting DMs when up until at least 24 hours before I had decided to finish this project, you did the conversation where I ask Rima and I say, quote, I do have to ask Rima, is there information the public has not yet seen, but you have because of your associations? And she says, and I quote, yeah, there is on a few topics, but it's all gonna come out eventually. I reply by saying, why? I ask because it's not fair to assume you can argue with information I don't have. Because at the time, I was trying to figure out if Rima had made this video only with information that the public had known, made this with some information that had been shared behind the scenes. Despite the fact that she continues on to say, quote, I'm only arguing on information publicly available, I do not believe that that is entirely true. I believe that there is information that has not been put out to the public that she has been made privy to because people like Bao, because people like Shy Lily are potentially her friends, that she is not sharing with the public, which in my opinion colors the way that she has chosen to report on this video. Now, she did say it would potentially come out eventually. I'm not sure if this means that Shy Lily is waiting for Cinder to come back and release something else that could be massive. But, Shy, if that's true, I definitely can't wait to see it. No, really, please. I'm already in team everybody sucks. I think Cinder, or at the very least her manager Red, was disgusting for gossiping to Nano about the people that Cinder had personal issues with and trying to get those individuals blacklisted from potential art with said artists. I personally don't subscribe to the notion that Cinder knew everything that Red was saying. However, I feel the fact that she decided to tell somebody that is both her boyfriend, who's emotionally connected to her, and her manager that is monetarily connected to her, I still don't like that, and I think that in the future, maybe this should be a lesson for why you shouldn't be manager with somebody that you're dating. Just a thought. Again, allegedly, these two people were a couple, but did they live together? I really don't know. What I do know is until I see her DMs specifically, which I also really want to see in this situation, I feel like it's impossible to say that she knew everything that went on. But again, going back to the girlies, if there's more incriminating information or more information that Rima has been made privy to, and probably shouldn't have told me that she knew, especially since I am an evil drama baiter that can't be trusted in the slightest, then I really want to see it. No, really, I do. I feel like if you want to bury the Pyropups leader more than you already have, please share more with the audience so that I can continue to cheer with you as well. Now, why do I have an issue with this? Why would I even consider this a lie? Well, I think that along with pairing the obvious bias that Rima has towards the girlies, She has information that she has been given either by them or some other third party that could sway either my or the general audience's opinion even more hard or even against Cinder. She's been given private information about this. Then, with that information in hand, creates a video that shines a positive light on people she is friends with. Or, at the very least, wants to create connections for future projects. Can you see why I possibly have an issue with that? Again, I'd like to direct your attention to the bright Pfizer ad on CNN while they say you should take certain medications. Perhaps the medication is good for you. I'm definitely not going to argue that. But it's kind of weird that Rima would make this video, not acknowledge her biases to her audience, then assume that people wouldn't have an issue with this. Just tell people in the video, hey guys, just letting you know that these are my biases for these people, and my bias swings in this direction. You should understand that before watching this video. I don't even feel like that's out of the question to say. For a lot of her videos that she has made, I don't feel like that is necessary because she doesn't have connections with a lot of those individuals. Sure, it would be nice to make a video with Doki Bird one day, or sure, it would be nice to connect with some of the individuals that maybe she has negative reporting on, but I do feel like it is worth telling individuals that she is close and connected with the girlies, at the very least, again, Bao, but she does not say that, nor does she assume that you are going to care. Again, maybe you won't, but I do. And I think a lot of individuals who are critical thinkers in this situation would care about that situation. Just an odd thing, I suppose. I guess unless her or the girlies she's friends with clarifies what she was talking about with me in DMs, we'll never know what she was told in its entirety. Now, look, again, I really don't care about the Cinder drama's outcome. Okay, maybe a little. I do want to see these alleged secret DMs and private information that has not been revealed yet. Why? Because it's tea. I'm sure a lot of individuals want to see it. It may further confirm their biases, or, if it's something that would be very funny if it isn't, make more people sway towards Cinder. Regardless, knowing that Rima could potentially have information like this, and she chooses to make this video, well, what if the information in the video is wrong? She is only going by publicly facing information after all. What if something was presented a certain way to paint a narrative that could be countered with this secret information? I guess we won't know unless Rima or her friends decide to say something. Now, before you get on me for possibly interpreting what Rima said wrong, which I guess could be the case, I will just say that it is my one truth. Something that only a few sentences down from this conversation we had, Rima herself said does not exist. In the conversation where we are talking about the exact same information that she had just revealed to me, I say I am looking for facts, or am trying to. In a reply to me, she would say, quote, I am a happy and content person in my life, Occo. I've traveled a lot and met many different people. There isn't one truth. That's a pipe dream. A young college student illusion, LMAO. No one intelligent believes they are holding, quote unquote, the truth, because that makes someone not question anything. It's a ridiculous idea. My experiences color how harshly I criticize someone, but it's not just, quote unquote, feelings. It's just being wiser. I'm not really quite sure how I'm supposed to interpret this. I don't know if Rima is saying that there isn't any truth in the situation we're seeing here, or if she's just trying to be poetic about the fact that she believes that everybody can have a personal truth. I'm not entirely sure myself, and I would go by my feelings, but in the exact same conversation, she also says that she does not believe in going by feelings. So which is it? Which is it? Am I supposed to go by my feelings or my gut that I feel like something is wrong with this situation? Or am I supposed to go off of the fact that there are facts missing from this situation and I feel like there is information that hasn't been revealed yet that might twist the situation? I'm gonna let you answer that one, Rima, because I am confused. By the way, really quickly, while I don't have any plans to reveal my individual DMs with Rima, she is allowed to, with proper redactions to privacy related things, share mine with her. I personally don't mind and don't have any issues answering any questions about the things that were said in any of my DMs with her. Although I don't think she probably will. Well, I'm not quite sure. She has stated in her own Discord, quote, "I don't leak DMs because I'm classy," unquote. Although that's not really true. And we know this because one of Rima's good new friends, Rev's wife, Straub herself, says that she saw them. So maybe she will? That being Rima. Or maybe not. Just make sure you block out our private info. I'd prefer not to add doxing to this list. I'm not sure if sharing DMs like this is a lie, or perhaps I am misunderstanding what she is saying. Perhaps she's talking about sharing DMs in public. But either way, I still find this to be a lie to her own audience. For context, to continue on with the Cinder drama, Mizu and Rima had disagreed on how Rima decided to report on the drama itself in her video. I'm unknowing of their conversations in specific. However, from what I heard from both ends, they, to make it light, disagreed. To the point that Rima did not want to talk with Mizu anymore. This brings up an issue I have with her and not being able to take critique. But I'm saving it for the end of this video. Continuing on, they separated, and it seemed like that might be the end of it. It was sad and unfortunate, but sometimes you disagree with friends or acquaintances, and reconciliation isn't possible. But while Mizu decided to confide in myself and perhaps a few others, sharing a bit of his exchange, Rima decided to go to Rev's wife, Darling Straub. We know this because when Straub DM'd Mizu, she admitted that she had seen the DMs that Rima and him had. And thanks to her, with the courtesy of sharing these images on Twitter, I will share them now with you. Now, I'm not quite sure how else I'm supposed to interpret this other than Rima actually sharing private DMs. All I know is leading from the sharing, Straub comes into the Under the Tea Discord server, which is public, begins to act passive-aggressive towards one of our fans who says hi, and then later on pretends that she didn't start this. I'd like to make it known, by the way, that Rev's wife isn't the main focus of this video. She's a side character that decided to become entwined with this drama. In a way, I kind of understand her position and feelings. Like her, I also became entwined with the drama, taking Mizu's side at the very end. Like her, I felt a deep sadness for the fight that had taken place. Perhaps a deeper look on her later could take place. Sadly, this is not the first time she's had one of these breakdowns on Twitter, and I would guess that if she wasn't Rev's wife, she would probably be the subject of one of his videos. However, that's neither here nor there, so I'd like to get back to Rima. Instead of talking about private Discord DMs, let's move on to talking about the Under the Tea Cord that Rev's wife decided to join. Now, during the night before Mizu's stream, Rima made some pretty wild accusations about the server. Quote, "They have a thread spawning over 17,000 replies, talking shit about everyone in there," unquote. This is referring to the Cinder thread, a thread that is now locked due to the lack of new information about the drama in general. I find it funny that by omission, she leaves out the fact that this thread is about Cinder and the Cinder drama itself. It could be, and I'm giving good faith here, that the mention of quote-unquote everyone, she is probably talking about the girlies that were also mentioned and given critique in this thread. We have, in my opinion, been pretty critical of all angles in both sides of the drama, some of it potentially needing correction, and I don't doubt that, because being humans, we've probably missed some of the stuff and not silenced people when they've gone too far. However, I think it's funny that Rima is calling the server vile, considering some of the stuff she allows in her server. In Rima's Discord server, again another place that is publicly accessible, the day that Mizu left his tweet critiquing her, her audience began making a meme of him. This meme is a sentence of him that is wildly taken out of context. In fact, it isn't even to Rima herself. It's to another VTuber that he's conversing with about the tweet. Here's the tweet. And here's the amount of tweets in the chain all the way up to the original tweet. The amount of tweets is 17, meaning that it's so far below the chain that the context is far, far removed. Continuing on her statement, she alleges that 6,000 replies in this thread are all about her. This is, on its face, a bold-faced lie. Anybody can go check this. Again, the Under the Tea Discord server is a publicly accessible server that anybody can join at any time if they wished to read about recent dramas. Anybody can search the entire Under the Tea Discord server to see how many times her name was specifically mentioned. As of the making of this video, it sits a little over 800. However, I expect that number to be mostly affected by the stream that Mizu decided to do the night following this drama. Now, let me be clear. I am not sure why Rima decided to lie this hard, even to her own server, her own fans. Or rather, it was more targeted towards another VTuber who was asking how all of this happened. You can see that Kendra is trying to ask good faith questions to understand things. However, Rima refuses to share in her own server for whatever reason, I don't know. I have my opinions, but I'm not going to opine them. Nearing the end of this video, I wanted to talk about one personal opinion, and that being around the idea of Rima not being able to take any form of critique. I'm honestly not sure how I'm supposed to think in this regard. On one hand, I get that she's protecting her friends. She's trying to help push a narrative that is widely accepted by the populace, and probably knows more and just wants to help. I guess in a way, her and Rev's wife can relate in that respect. On the other hand, if it's not that, it really starts to strike me as Rima not being able to take any form of a critical reply to her video. One that, while I do agree is terse, let's be honest, sometimes Mizu is a lot, but he is to everyone, it comes from somebody who considered Rima a good person. I'm not going to understate this enough. Up until the Cinder drama, the four of us talked a lot on a semi-regular basis. Rima was very understanding of the fact that Mizu is harsh on his friends, and everyone for that fact. She obviously was hesitant on a couple of our actions, mostly related to other individuals, But she still understood that Mizu was a critical thinker, and as far as I knew, this was something that she accepted. I guess I just don't understand. Rima is not just some other content creator. She's not just another VTuber even. Nor is she just a React Andy that sits and watches things all day like the latest Shoe on Head video. She is a drama reporter, akin to news journalism and reporting. She covers drama, and sometimes trauma of individuals, and tears into people's personal lives to occasionally leave a message. Her job is nothing but being critical on other individuals in the VTuber sphere. So, I don't get it. Mizu attempts to talk to her about the Cinder situation a month or so before her video. She ignores him, then when he makes a public comment on a public video open to public scrutiny, she folds. She folds, and a near year of interaction between the four of us is sundered in an instant. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I've been a perfect player here myself. I think anyone can look at my actions in this and probably wonder why I was so, to quote one of her server members, spineless. To make a long story short, both of these people were my friends. I did not want to see two people I liked fight. Rima knows that feeling, I'm very sure. And so, during the entire time that this situation went on, I felt like I had to walk a stupid tightrope trying to get my friends not to pull apart. In my attempts, I don't doubt that I didn't help, and probably added to the stress on both Mizu and Rima's side collectively. I think it goes without saying that I am sad and regretful for how everything eventually ended up going down, but I do wonder if I am missing something. Rima is a fantastic documentarian, journalist, and was quite fun to talk to on occasion. I recently have reviewed pretty much all of our correspondence, both on Twitter and Discord, and now I am left wondering, where is this path that Rima has chosen to take to lead? She's choosing to throw away people because of something like this? Alright, I guess. I'm not sure I get it, but what I do know is, if this is the road that Rima wishes to take, where I see her aligning with individuals that I personally don't believe have her best interest at heart and will probably turn on her if she covers something wrong. The only thing I can leave her with are the words of somebody who decidedly warned another individual about their imminent collapse.
Yeah, well, you surround yourself with people who think exactly the same way you do. Yeah,
circle jerk.
Yeah, exactly. And then any...
Is that a kind of a shrinking?
Oh, yeah, it's a terrible shrinking. Oh, yeah, well, that's partly why ideologies get so out of hand, is because you surround yourself with self-reflecting material.
You're not traveling.
You're not traveling a bit.
Not exposing yourself to
No.
There's no yin-yang.
And the circle gets tighter because, you know, one of your friends... So you've got rid of anyone who says anything you don't don't agree with. And then one of your friends, you're a little weaker, and you're all a little more homogenous. And then one of your friends says something that's a little out of line. It's like, hey, you're out of here, man. You're the heretic or heretic. And then, well, now you're down to 5 people around you, and they're even more homogenous and smaller. And then it's 4 people, and it's like, soon there's nothing left of you.
Race to the bottom.
It's a race to the bottom. And there's nothing left of you by the time you hit the bottom. No, it's ugly. It's the danger of ideological movements.
But with that out of the way, that's where I'm going to end this video. A brief reminder not to bother the people talked about. Critical thoughts and analysis is approved and allowed, especially in my comments. But if I get a word that people are harassing the individuals or subjects in this video, I will not hesitate. Don't make me get the yippee slapper. Anyway, that's about it. I think I'm going to go on my vacation now. I haven't had one in nearly 3 to 4 years, so I'm going to take 7 days off and not work at all. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to tell me what you think below. I definitely won't be removing your comments for being critical of it. Just don't put slurs in my comments. YouTube doesn't like them, and I definitely won't be approving them. Alright, you guys have a fantastic day.